chasing the dragon, man. He's chasing he's chasing that high.
I don't like him right now, no, because he's wearing number 6. I don't like that, man. Go back to 23. He just was colder than me in 23. 6 don't look. I'm just used to seeing that 23 on him. Jay, he's older, 37 years old, and if he can continue to stay healthy, I think he's going to lead the Lakers to another championship.
LeBron James could win a championship, but this year will depend upon if Frank Vogel can truly coach his team differently than he has had to coach teams in the past. Like, people say X factor is Russell Westbrook, or you added 11 new players to this roster. We want to change the dynamic of this roster to be more offensively driven, even though there's a lot of questions about this team defensively this year. But scheme-wise, how will Frank Vogel make it work? Because during a regular season, if they stay healthy, I don't think you're going to see a lot of problems. I think LeBron James will probably still play around 34 minutes per game, career low like he did last year. A lot of great additions. You'll see the ball in the hands of Russell Westbrook more. But when you get to the playoffs, that's what I care about for the Lakers. Are they healthy, number one? And number two, what does the offense look like? Will LeBron James have to play more off the ball and be more of a catch-and-shoot type player, which I think takes away from a lot of his strengths? Because when you play Russell Westbrook and him together, that provides some challenges for a team when the court shrinks and you're forced to make more shots from the outside.
Well, it's funny. You bring up 34 minutes a game. Here's a quote from LeBron about how he won't shield his body from injury at this age. Quote, "I don't play the game thinking about injuries. And also, and this is interesting, I think, I feel worse when I play low minutes." He feels worse, Jay, when he plays low minutes. Does that mean anything to you?
I would think, Jay, it's because his body is accustomed to a certain time. And when you only getting yourself, 20 minutes in a game versus 30 minutes in a game, it's like you just feel different. You're used to going
colder.
You're used to going full tilt. And then in terms of injuries in the Lakers or LeBron James, let's just be clear. His injury last year was not due to soft tissue. Somebody fell on his ankle. It's a big difference in terms of soft tissue injury versus somebody falling on you and you getting injured. It's not like the dude is just injury prone. It's just the last couple years, somebody's fell on him, something happened here, and that's pretty much it. He's not missing games every 2 weeks because of injuries.
Think about the last 2 years, though, right? So if you're LeBron James, Key, you and I talk about this all the time, the older you get, how does your body adjust, right? Your body likes continuity. Like, think about it. I like to wake up every day. You have your same routine. You get into that. The last 2 years, though, we've had a stoppage in the season. We've had layoffs. Then we got into the bubble. Then in October, we came back. We started the season again in December. Then it went into the summer, right? Then you had injuries. Then
there's a different intensity playing NBA basketball than training or doing anything else. The intensity is different.
Season ended in July, even though they had an early exit for the Lakers, but yeah, injuries to LeBron James and AD, and then all of a sudden the season came back in October again.
Jay, do you think that, just talking about the Lakers, do you think the Lakers will learn, meaning as a staff and the players as a holdovers, learn from the mistake of where we're seated doesn't matter based on last year? Remember how the Lakers, all they need to do is get in the tournament. How did that work out for us?
Yeah, I don't think it's about seeding as much as I think about how healthy you are. And also, I go back to Frank Vogel because I think
about it, though. We had to play that playing game.
True.
And then,
they're not expecting
you
to
weren't
be
fully healthy,
in a
though.
playing game.
But it was, remember what everything was saying, not including myself. Oh, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. We'll be fine.
You would have been fine, Key. The problem was AD got hurt, right? Like they were going to beat the Suns, and it was pretty clear they were going to when they went to Phoenix and did it, right? Then they got hurt, and then Phoenix beat them. But if you want to argue they get hurt, they're more prone to injury because the schedule was condensed, I think that's another conversation.
But see, again, when you talk about it, Jay, and you talk about the schedule, Max, and it's being condensed, those people fell on LeBron. So if you
but you're talking about AD. You're talking about AD. You're talking about Dennis Schroeder didn't show up last year.
Yeah, he didn't show up. That's why he's not on the team. And Magic Johnson was on our show talking about Dennis Schroeder being out of there because he wasn't living up to expectations. But Jay, when you look at it though, who are the challengers in the West for the Lakers?
I mean, I think you got a lot of challenge. I think Utah will be right there in that conversation like they were last year. They finished with the league's best record. I think Phoenix will be there.
Golden State's
Golden
getting
State,
healthy.
depending upon when Klay Thompson comes back and he participates. Look, I think the West will have challengers. I think the Lakers are the best team in the West. Think about the depth they added. Malik Monk, Wayne Ellington. You have Tellen Horton-Tucker, Trevor Ariza, Carmelo Anthony. I mean, the names go on and on and on about what they have from a depth perspective. But Avery Bradley to sign for defensive ability. But I will say this. I go into coaching one last time. If there's one person on that roster that LeBron James looked to each and every game because of these offensive genius, it was Jason Kidd. So Frank Vogel's known for his defensive genius.
Yeah.
They're going to have challenges because they gotten bigger. It's not going to be the same defensive team as it was last year. Losing Jason Kidd, I think, is a big loss for this team.
How many times you said Trevor Ariza? How many times did Trevor Ariza play for the Lakers?
It's got to be, what is this, 3?
Is this 3? This is his third trip.
Yeah, Rondo comes back. Dwight Howard comes back.
This is Dwight Howard third trip too, huh?
Yes.
You know, I'll say this,
That's
though,
so funny.
about
Trevor Ariza. Jeez.
LeBron and Westbrook, because this is when people talk about the way things fit, and that's the first thing you talked about, Jay. If you look at LeBron throughout his career, he'll start slower than he'll finish because he's trying to figure out how it's all going to work, how to lead a group of guys to the promised land. Westbrook, there's so much Westbrook slander in the first half of the last 3 or 4 seasons because he's been in a new situation every time.
It's already started. He's had 23 turnovers in his 6 preseason games.
But the reason I bring that up is by the second half of the season, go back and by the second half of the season, we're always saying, man, Westbrook is playing like an MVP. He takes about a half a season to figure out his new teammates because he's in a new situation, and then he goes crazy. You think LeBron and Westbrook together aren't going to figure this out eventually?
Well, I think they can. I still think it's going to pose some challenges, though, when playoffs come around.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.